Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah.
So I thought what I wanted to talk through today is the concept of knowledge within Islam and how we as Muslims are supposed to draw knowledge. What knowledge do we deem as beneficial and as factual for us and that can sustain us, and what kind of knowledge is it that we should repel and we say, no, this is not something that is going to be beneficial to us. Allah, it gives us an instruction that we need to find the truth, we need to seek the truth, and in fact we need to insist upon, if somebody comes to us with a piece of news, then ascertain whether that is the truth and insist on the proof whether that is the truth. So we find, for example, in hadith where there are certain hadith that says women are not allowed to be leaders, or if a woman passes in front of you then your prayer is nullified, right? But then how does it land with women when they hear these kind of things? So one needs to question, what is the validity of this hadith, for example? Where did this knowledge come from? What is the chain of narrators, for example? Is this hadith classified as weak, or is it classified as authentic, and so on? And so with many other things, the thing about homosexuality, the thing about the different sects within Islam, right? How do we justify those things if we don't have enough knowledge? So the very first word that was revealed to the Nabi Muhammad ﷺ was Iqra. And just by the Quran opening, I mean, when Jibreel appeared to the Nabi Muhammad ﷺ, his first word for a few seconds or for a few minutes was just Iqra, right? And just by the Nabi ﷺ hearing this, it put him into a whole frenzy. Because what does it mean? What is this voice trying to say to me? Who is this voice? Am I being commanded to say something, to repeat something? Am I being instructed to do something? And we find that this word Iqra doesn't just mean to read, but it means to seek knowledge, to proclaim the knowledge that you have, right? To ensure that what you understand of knowledge is true, and then imparting that to others. And besides this, when this word was kind of proclaimed on earth, it is the start of an information era for Muslims. It is almost as if the Quran is saying, you are now, as a human race, stepping into an information era. Use your discretion. What information is going to be important? I mean, today we look on the internet, right? There's so many varied views around so many different topics. Where do you start? How do you ascertain that what is being shared on the on internet is the truth? For example, the thing that's happening now in Palestine, you see on both sides, the Israelis are putting on videos on YouTube, right? And some of these videos, they are not true. They are being cut and pasted together to make it look like that is the truth. And on the Palestinian side also, we find people that are posting old pictures of Palestinian violence, right? To kind of incite people to say, you know, we need to take up arms against the Israelis and so on. So one needs to be just very careful, even though the visuals looks very true. Where is the information coming from? Who are posting these videos? And what is the message that they're trying us to get out of this? So in Islam, there is no space for blind following. There is no space for personality following. Right? So just as you are not supposed to judge the information based on the person that the information is coming from, so also you cannot just follow personalities and say, oh, but he looks good. He looks very salih, you know. He's got a long beard and he looks authentic. Therefore, what he is automatically saying is true. No. You can question, right? In fact, the Quran says you have a responsibility to question, as we will see now. So the Quran says, وَلَا تَقِفُ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٍ إِنَّ السَّمْعَ وَالْبَصَرَ وَالْفُؤَادَ كُلُّ أُولَٰئِكَ كَانَ عَنْهُ مَسْئُولًا. The Quran says, and never rest on something and accept it to be the truth when you have no knowledge of it. Because truly your hearing that Allah has given you, your sight that Allah has given you, and the heart with which you feel that knowledge that Allah has given you, it will have to bear testimony on the Day of Judgment for what it has taken in. Right? So Allah makes us responsible for the information that we accept to be true. قالوا سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. And they say, limitless are you in your glory, for no knowledge do we have except the knowledge which you have given us. For you alone are the all-knowing, truly wise. So knowledge is also something that can make us very arrogant, right? Our degrees, our PhDs, I'm a doctor, I'm a this and I'm a that, right? But here Allah reminds us that knowledge is supposed to bring you to that level of Allah consciousness, to that point of self-actualization that we all want to reach. So knowledge is not supposed to be harming, and it's not supposed to lead to arrogance. So by we stating that whatever knowledge we know, it is by the permission of Allah that we know that, it makes us humble, right? And it makes us appreciate the knowledge that Allah has given us, or the ability to use our sight and our hearts and our hearing to take in knowledge. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا قَبْلَكَ إِلَّا رِجَالًا نُوحَى إِلَيْهِ فَاسْأَلْ أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. So ask of those who possess knowledge if you do not know. Now also we have a notion that Islam is this thing, and all you need to know is this religious knowledge, and that's what's going to save you at the end of the day. According to Islam, according to the Quran, it says, فَاسْأَلْ أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. And the Ahl al-Dhikr is when Allah says that we have inspired through the ages men with different kinds of knowledge. Some people have knowledge on how to build a house. Some people have knowledge on how to philosophize. Some people have knowledge on medicine. Some people have knowledge on psychology. So if you have an ailment with the head, you don't go to a builder. You go to the people who have knowledge about that particular area. That is the Ahl al-Dhikr. So as a Muslim, when it comes to knowledge, it's not just about religious knowledge that we need to have, but it's a wide variety of knowledge. The Quran says, don't rest on something which you don't have enough knowledge on. Have you consulted all the sciences on the horizon? Have you consulted the psychologist about this issue? Have you consulted the researcher about this issue, the historian? And then putting all those facts together and then make up your mind around what is truth. So if you question then at the end of the day, so what is Islamic knowledge? It's not just the knowledge that comes from the Quran. It's a wide variety of knowledge that is beneficial to you on your journey towards Allah consciousness. وَإِنَّ كَثِيرًا لِيُضِلُّوا بِأَهْوَائِهِمْ بِغَيْرِ عِلْمٍ. And then Allah says, and truly many are misguided by their own views without knowledge. So this thing that we constantly consult and we think that we right and it's how we see the world and whatever, that is also a form of arrogance, right? And that always needs to be contested against what's really true, right? Because sometimes our feelings can also deceive us, right? So therefore it is important that we consult the facts and not just go by what we feel is true. وَكَيْفَ تَصْبِرْ عَلَى مَا لَمْ تُخِبْ بِهِ خَبْرًا. And how can you conclude, or how can you be rest assured about something that it is true if your knowledge about it is incomplete? So as I explained, when our knowledge is incomplete, when we haven't consulted all the different sciences. So how is it possible as a Muslim to make concluding remarks about anything when we, number one, we haven't consulted the Ahl al-Dhikr, we haven't consulted those who have knowledge about the issue, we haven't consulted the different sciences around the issue, we haven't tested the information for ourselves, whether it is true for ourselves and whether it is growing us. And we have not accepted it that it only maybe holds true for us, but it doesn't hold true for everybody else. So again, it is important even for our spiritual growth that we consult with all the sciences on the horizon, not just the Islamic or the religious sciences. Nothing in this world is conclusive. The only surety that we have is that we will all die. Everything else can be contested. So never rest on something and say this is the truth, because the moment you do that, the universe will start challenging you on that. Like the Quran says, do not say I believe and think that you will not be tested. If you believe in anything, you will be tested around that belief. When you look back in the history, the ignorance that humanity has been through, it has led us to become judgmental. It has led us to self-righteousness, to arrogance. And so Islam frowned upon ignorance. And therefore the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has said so many hadith around knowledge and the seeking of knowledge and how important that becomes within Islam. So the Quran says that ignorance can never compare to that which is knowledgeable, or to those who have knowledge. هل يستوي الذين يعلمون والذين لا يعلمون إنما يتذكر أولو الألباب. Can the one who has knowledge be compared to the one who doesn't have knowledge? Right? So Allah makes that distinction. And Allah says, Allah has brought you out of from your wombs, the wombs of your mothers, while you knew nothing. And then He gave you hearing, and He gave you sight, and He gave you hearts, so that at least through these that you may become thankful. So these faculties that Allah has given us is so that we can learn and experience for ourselves what is truth and what is not. And so let us use these facilities that Allah has given us, and let us create an earnest desire to learn and to question and to think. I think as we see Muslims today, we've stopped thinking at some point. And so that when we use these resources again and these tools again, that inshallah Allah will grant that it will lead us to the proof that we need around our own existence and our own understanding of Islam. Seek knowledge, walau hatta fi sin. Go out and seek knowledge, even if you have to go as far as China. Now in 7th century Arabia, China was like on the other side of the world, right? So it means that one needs to exert ourselves to find true knowledge. The acquisition of knowledge is compulsory for every Muslim, whether they be male or female. And so Allah says, the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says that this ink of a scholar is holier than the blood of a martyr. Seeking knowledge from the cradle to the grave. So the Muslim who says that I have enough knowledge, I'm the alim, he is the jahil. Because one can never have enough knowledge. There's always something to learn. The best form of worship is the pursuit of knowledge. Someone asked the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, who is the biggest scholar? And he replied, he who constantly trying to learn from others, for a scholar is ever hungry for more knowledge. Seek knowledge and wisdom, or whatever the vessel from which it flows, you will never be the loser. To listen to the words of the learned and to instill unto others the lessons of science is better than religious exercise. So even here the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam supporting the sciences on the horizon. Acquire knowledge. It enables its possessor to distinguish right from wrong. It lights the way to heaven. It is our friend in the desert, our society in solitude, our companion when you are friendless. It guides us to happiness. It sustained us in misery. It is an ornament amongst friends and an armor against enemies. And then I think one of the most beautiful narrations of the Nabi Muhammad around knowledge is من سلك طريقا يلتمس فيها علما سهلك الله له طريقا إلى الجنة. The Nabi said that he who sets out, he who makes a path seeking knowledge, Allah will make a path open for him towards heaven. and also a beautiful prayer around knowledge that that the Nabi Muhammad has taught us, and we always use in our trainings. Allahumma anfa'na bima allamtana wa 'allimna bima yanfa'una wa na'udhu billahi min ahli ad-dalal bi rahmatihi wa huwa arhamar rahim.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha